Everybody give it up for GAPEE
Thank y'all.
and Ackerman Jim. Well, y'all was out here prepared, wasn't y'all?
Look, we be putting together a theatrical thing every
Man,
day.
that was incredible, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, man. That meant a lot.
Yeah.
I know earlier today you said when the first time that you got on the show, that was like right before your first performance.
Yes.
So, with that being said, what was it like between then and your latest performance?
Wow. So my first performance, I had no idea what I was doing.
What's something you learned?
Wow. Something I've learned is you have to have fun with your passion.
Right.
Especially when it's something you decide to do as an entrepreneur. You have to have fun with it. And if you're having fun with it, that's all that matters. It will feed you. It will give you everything you need from it.
What's one of the biggest things that you've learned along the way, though, as far as how to put together a show, right? Because you've done quite a few shows in between time, right?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
what's some of the things that you've learned in order to craft that perfect show?
So something I've learned, especially when crafting my shows, has been just putting passion into everything I do, putting a little bit of myself into everything I do. I like to tell a story. I believe that when we as musicians are pouring our hearts out on stage, we are telling a story. And I try to make that story not just be through my music, but also visual, because I know that a lot of the things I've been through, a lot of people can relate to as well. So I try to give them a voice or a space where they might not feel like they have one.
So how do you put like your paintings, because you're naturally a visual artist.
Right.
So how do you transition that into your music and, performing?
So something I've learned along the way is that music is an art. On top of being a visual artist. So I treat every song just like I treat my paintings. I take it in layers. I add different things to it to enhance it. But something that kind of just transcends through all of it is I try to put my everything into everything I do. Like I put my heart into it and I treat it just like I treat my art.
Right. One of the things that we discussed with Joey on a few episodes back was that he sees his music and sees music in general in colors. Would you say that you see your music in colors as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like every mood has a color. Like, color is psychology. So I feel like every song has a color as well. I feel like, there are times where the colorful things come and that's like the fun music, but there are also times where the darkness comes in and the music will reflect that as well. And that balance is very important, I feel.
What's your favorite color to convey in your music?
Oh my gosh, I love conveying blue. Blue is a color of calm. For me, it's been a color of healing. It represents water. So it's a color of cleansing. And it just makes my soul and my spirit feel very at home, very at peace.
Is that, even though they're the Grow Sisters, is that the reason why you chose them to represent your album cover?
So there's a funny story behind it.
Talk about it.
So first of all, I created Will Work for Pay within a month. I literally made the beats. Like, I had everybody in the studio with me. I wrote all the lyrics, everything within a month because I was supposed to do an art show a month before that project came out. And I was given the impression that I was going to be paid for it. And then when I got there, the lady was like, pay? Like, what is that? And I thought about the Girl Sisters and how they're always reaching out their hand. Like,
they like, hey, where the coins
yeah,
at?
like, where the money at? And that's how I felt in the moment. Like, I was reaching my hand out. And it kind of just made me realize that not enough people understand the importance of investing in creatives, investing in the arts. So that project was really just me venting and also sharing, like, yeah, it's important to invest in us. What we do for a living is that's our living,
Right.
Like, this is everything for us.
What's the brightest color song on that project, and what's the darkest color song?
The brightest color song is Starlight. The song representing my 3-year-old Indigo. That is the brightest song because he is the brightest part of my life. He's my everything. Like, I literally named him Indigo because it means warrior and little light. And that's what he represents for me. As far as the darkest song, I think it might be Mary. I talk a lot about conspiracy theories. I talk a lot about the world and how the world is crumbling around us and how, we're kind of stuck in a way. Like, we don't really know what to do. And yeah, that song really conveys darkness.
When crafting your projects or crafting singles in general, who or what is your biggest muse and why?
Oh, my biggest muse. That's a difficult question to ask. I mean, answer. As far as like where I get my inspiration, I get my inspiration from my mom. My mom has been singing her entire life. I grew up hearing my mom belting Anita Baker while doing dishes, and I'd be like, why is nobody recording this?
Right.
But also, you know, like my dad, a lot of people don't know, my dad was a preacher when I was a kid. Before I was born, my dad was a musician in jazz clubs in Connecticut and also other places. He would tour with other musicians and play the drums, and that was his passion for a long time. He taught me how to play the drums when I was a little girl as well. But yeah, my parents literally poured everything into me musically, so I try to channel that in every project I do.
You're a visual artist, like we said earlier. Out of all these paintings that you brought with you, which one has the most significance to them?
So there is a lady on this side of us. She has a blue and black and white afro. She's a part of a series I call my Inner Child series. So she is the adult woman of the series, and there's a little girl behind the door who is the child version of her. And those two pieces together mean the most to me because they represent me healing my inner child and me giving my inner child the space to just be herself and be authentically who she is, and finding power and finding peace and finding love in that. Because I grew up a little girl around a lot of people that weren't into what I was into. So I hid who I was. I covered myself. I tried to be something I wasn't, and it never worked. And it took me becoming an adult and an artist to really find out why it just never worked. And that's why, even with my music, I try to tell people, just be yourselves. Like, life will make room for you, and the people that are meant for you will always come to you when you're yourself.
Drop a bomb.
Come on, man. Do you feel like your inner child has finally found their voice, or is still searching for it?
Absolutely. I feel like she has found her voice. The stuff I put in my music now, as a Christian child growing up, I would have never said. Like, I remember when I was a kid, my parents told me about God, and they were like, God is always watching you. And I used to go in the closet and like curse, and then like come out really quickly, like, did you hear that, God? And now I kind of just use my music as a way to just express myself and vent without fear or without shame. So she's definitely being given the space to be herself.
With the child that you were then, if you could go back, what would be that gem that you would give her to, maneuver through life?
I would tell her that the safe space she is looking for in everything or everyone else is within her. And once she finds that safe space, she will finally become who she's always wanted to be.
That's a gem. Thank you so much for being a part of this show. Thank you so much for being a part of, this live event, man. This means a lot.
Most definitely.
Thank y'all so much. It's so good to see y'all after 3 years. It's been 3 years,
It's been
y'all.
3 years
Yes.
since the last time
Thank
we spoke.
y'all.
Man, give it up for free jams.
Come on,
Yes,
man.
absolutely.
3 years.
Right.
But
I love y'all.
I mean,
we
look,
love you too.
we need to do an official part 2, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's time.
Yes.